In this video, I review my Austin Allegro. So what's it actually like inside my Allegro? Well, this being the 1100 model and the bottom of the bottom, there's a lot of vinyl going on. If you have a look around here, you'll see the seats. I'm lucky enough to have found a car in decent condition. They've actually held up really well considering their age. There's a lot of plastic on the dash. I believe that the Series 1s, although I know the Series 1s had metal here, whereas this is plastic, so slightly reviewed. There are some scorch marks, which unfortunately the sun has done that too, although I do try and keep it up these days. Keep it covered, sorry. In terms of instrumentation, there's a very straightforward speedometer there. I can tell you now it won't do 120 miles an hour, but I think they shared the same speedometer with other BL models of the time, so hence why it says 120 on there. Now down to the dashboard, you've got well, I fitted actually a period correct radio cassette with FM, because when I bought the car it just had a straightforward medium wave tune-up radio, which was still working, but I wanted some sort of music, so that went, and I replaced it with a suitably period correct radio cassette. And in here, this is genius, I bought off the Tinternet an MP3 cassette player. So music on a card goes straight in there and it transfers your tunes to a cassette body, which then just goes straight forward into your cassette player like that, and then you can have as many tracks as you want in slightly better quality than an old cassette of 40 years would be, because they don't last well, and I've not had much experience buying cassettes. Onto the switchgear, you've got I'll just move the phone down here. You've got a side and dip beam on there, so main beam, no, it is dip beam and side light on there. Main beam is controlled off the indicator stalks, and the heated rear window, which is a luxury, and it does actually work. It just takes forever to warm up. Has a warning switch, and over to one side, being the poverty spec, you've got a blanking plate. That would be for the brake test switch, which also Minis had. A little illumination came up to tell you, I think, the brake fluid was running low, but certainly there was a sensor in the reservoir which illuminated if you had a low brake fluid. If I'm incorrect, I'm sure someone will correct me on that, but I've only ever seen it in my friend's Mini. And just finally, I fitted a cigarette lighter because it just had a blanking plate when I bought the car, and I wanted to run auxiliary devices such as sat navs. You have a basic ashtray in there, which at the moment is housing a suitably sized remote control for my MP3 player. Yes, I don't even need to touch the dash, I can just play around with that. And down to the gearbox, 4-speed box on this car, which does get a bit tired on the motorway. Could really do with a 5-speed gearbox, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. Right, let's take it for a spin. So the Allegro was the replacement for the Austin 1100, which had been a very popular family car. By the sort of early 70s, it was getting quite an old vehicle, and British Leyland wanted and had a replacement for the 1100 ready in production. Harris Mann was the chap who designed the original Allegro concept, but by the time it actually made production, BL being BL, cost cutting largely. Oh, hang on, I've got a car waiting to come past it. So let me through, yeah, lovely, thank you. BL being British Leyland wanted to keep costs down of manufacture. They incorporated the heater unit from the Morris Marina, which was quite a large bulky unit, and that ended up radically altering the design and shape of the car. This meant that Harris Mann's sleek aerodynamic vision was completely ruined. I still think it's a good looking car, certainly from certain angles,
at the time this vehicle was manufactured, British Leyland was under turbulent times. They were striking regularly, there was a short working week, and as a result, one or two examples may have left the factory not in the best of conditions. Those cars went on to the press, and unfortunately it scarred the reputation of the vehicle forever. Nissan Micra, or whatever it is. Not very good with modern cars, no interest at all. So as a result of that, it tarred the reputation of the company. By that point in the history of British Leyland, sales were down, and they had a lot of competition from overseas. You started to see some of the Japanese super minis coming into the country, things like the early Golfs from Germany, and they proved that you could build a cheap, reliable family car and have it reliable. So it damaged the reputation of British Leyland, and I think a lot of people go to think of the Allegro, not particularly the Allegro as such, but just it got used as a scapegoat and unfortunately treated as an example of all things wrong with British Leyland and British engineering. And now I'm sat in traffic. I'll give you an opportunity to have a bit more information about the Allegro. This particular example, the 1100 engine, it's about 47 horsepower. When you get up to motorway speeds, sort of 60, 65, it's starting to get a bit out of puff. Certainly if you're going downhill in a wind with a juggernaut in front of you, you can get a bit more out of it, unofficially of course. But yeah, it could really deal with the 5-speed box, which the higher spec models like the Van den Pla had. I'm all about originality though. I've got no plans to change this. This is what it had at the factory. It's on about 90,000 miles now. Eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed there's 20,000 miles on the clock. So it's had a replacement speedometer since I bought the car. I've had this car 5 years now. Been all over the country. It's been absolutely wonderful. Great little car. I've been to Edinburgh and back in it, which was 1,000 miles. That was a big undertaking. I only recently bought the car as well, so it was sort of a good test of its reliability. I think they get a lot of undeserved praise really. They're very simple mechanically to look after. Being an Allegro and not a Mini, it has a lot more space about it. The engine bay is wonderful to work on. You can get to literally everything. Although it's all the same mechanics as a Mini, under the bonnet at least, with the A-series engine. And I've absolutely fell in love with this car. When I went up to Scotland, I drove up overnight just because I wanted the roads to be a bit quieter. And I went through the Lake District just as the sun was coming up about 4 in the morning, and that was a brilliant moment. It really was. Quick from the touch panel there. Very characteristic whine from the gearbox there. What I love about this car though, it's got such a character about it. It's very familiar. Anyone with minis will be familiar with those noises that the car's now making. So the hydrogas suspension was a continuation from the Austin 1100, although it might have been hydroelastic. Hydrogas is, you have a chamber with 2 sections to it. One's controlled with nitrogen, one's the other half is fluid. And over a period of time, because they were never designed to last 40 odd years, they had about a working life of about 15. And over a period of time the nitrogen evaporates, and they were never designed to be regassed. So as a result the ride becomes quite harsh and bumpy. You can top them up with fluid, but it will raise the height of the vehicle, but you end up with a very crashy, very firm ride. There is now a company who will regas your units. They actually drill and tap a valve into them and make them good as new. You can get hold of them through Facebook. They do all sorts of British Leyland vehicles. A couple called Ian and Dawn Kennedy, and look them up on Facebook. They do a wonderful job. You can send them your units if you're okay with the spanners, and they will refurbish them for you. Oh, there's my Mark II Jag there. Completely ignore me because I'm in an Allegro. Yeah, Ian and Dawn Kennedy will refurbish the units. You can send the units to them or bring the car up to them, pre-book with them, give them a ring, and they do wonderful things with your old technology. I really must get my car up to them at some point. I have I have changed the units over myself in this car. I bought a couple of scrap Allegros. I don't like breaking cars, but this vehicle was the one I bought. Had been sat in grass for 25 years, and it was just hanging. It was like the wreck of the Titanic, and I ended up having to remove all the parts off that car from my own. So as a result of that, I've now got a large selection of spares, which is wonderful. And I've also sold a few bits on to keep other Allegros on the road. So there was a reason behind my doing that. Trust me, if the car had been savable, I would have done so. Yeah, so it's quite a nice place to be, the Allegro. It's not going to have air conditioning at this age, but it does get bloody hot in here in the summer, especially with the vinyl interior. I've never known a vehicle to be so hot inside. Burning your legs on the back of seats, it takes me back to my childhood. My grandparents had a Mark I Granada console in a wonderful orange metallic colour with a beige vinyl interior. I remember being in awe of that car as a child, and then they moved on to a Sierra, which is, again, at the time, my family were driving around in knackered old Volvo estates, like the old 240s. At the time I first started driving, I didn't have a lot of money. My first car was a Mark III Escort, and I had that for about a year, and then moved on to a XJ6, as you do. That was an old C-Reg 4.2 litre automatic, which I paid £1,000 for in 1997, and it was hanging. It had holes in the floor, AstroTurf for carpet, I kid you not. But I digress, because we're in an Allegro. Sorry, I went a little bit off topic there. But I thought I'd take you around the Allegro. It is a comfortable place. It's a nice place to be. It really is. Like I say, it could do with a way of being cooler, really. But that's the price you pay having a plastic car. I've been to shows all over the country in this car. I've been camping with my partner to Wales and back. It really has been a well-travelled little vehicle. Well, thank you for watching my little review of my little Austin Allegro. There will be future videos. Keep an eye on my channel, and I shall see you. Oh God, no! I was just about to finish off like Hubnut does. I can't do that. That's his way of finishing. No, yeah. Thank you for watching, and I don't know this video really. Thank you for watching.